Have you ever sat there, staring at your phone, waiting for a text that never came? You keep checking her last scene, replaying your last conversation, wondering where it all went wrong. You tell yourself she'll come back. Then doubt whispers, what if she doesn't? But what if I told you she will come back? Not because you begged, chased, or pleaded, but because you walked away in silence and became the man she never thought she'd lose. If you've ever loved deeply, been heartbroken, or felt the sting of her sudden coldness, this video is for you. Watch till the end, because I promise, this one truth might just change how you see love, pain, and power, and forever. But before we begin, hit that subscribe button and tap the bell icon, because here at Stoic Mysteries, we don't chase, we transform. Point 1. The power of detachment. Why pulling away brings her back. Have you ever noticed something strange? The moment you stop chasing someone, they suddenly start noticing you again. It's weird, right? You spend days, maybe weeks, begging for attention, sending messages that get ignored, replaying old memories in your mind. And the moment you decide to walk away, that's when she starts remembering you. Why does that happen? Let me tell you a story. Maybe it sounds a bit like yours. There was a man who loved a woman so deeply that he forgot to love himself. He'd wait all day for her texts, cancel plans for her calls, and stay up late just to feel close to her again. But as he gave more of himself, she gave less. The more he chased, the more distant she became. He thought showing love meant never giving up. But the truth? He was losing himself trying to keep her. One day he broke. He stopped calling, stopped texting, stopped explaining. Not out of anger, but out of exhaustion. He finally realized, love isn't proven by chasing. It's proven by peace. That's when something magical happened. Silence spoke louder than his words ever could. Weeks later, she texted him again. Hey, how have you been? A small message, but behind it was curiosity, maybe even regret. You see, that's what detachment does. It flips the energy. Because when you stop trying to control what's slipping away, the universe notices, and so does she. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop clinging. It means you love without losing your center. Every man watching this has felt that ache and that hollow feeling. After a breakup where you question your worth, you ask yourself, why wasn't I enough? But brother, here's the truth. You were always enough. You just gave too much of yourself to someone who stopped valuing what was freely given. Now think about this. When was the last time you pulled away from something toxic, only to feel peace flood back into your life? That peace, that silence, that's your power returning. Because a man who can walk away with calmness becomes unforgettable. He's no longer the boy chasing affection. He's the man who chooses peace over approval. So when you detach, you don't just make her wonder. You remind her of what real strength looks like. She'll start to miss your calm, your energy, your grounding presence. And slowly, she'll come back, not because she pities you, but because she feels your absence. Remember, love isn't about possession, it's about respect. And nothing earns more respect than a man who can love deeply, yet walk away when his peace is disturbed. So if you're watching this after a heartbreak, stop chasing, stop explaining. Sit in silence, heal. Because detachment isn't the end of love, it's the beginning of self-respect. And when she finally realizes what she lost, you'll already have become the man she never thought she'd lose. Point 2. The silence effect, what she feels when you stop chasing. Let me ask you something. Have you ever gone silent on someone you loved? Not because you stopped caring, but because you were tired of being the only one who did. That silence, that painful, heavy silence, and it's not emptiness. It's power. And when you stop chasing her, she feels it. Let me tell you a story. Maybe it's a bit like yours. There was a guy who loved a girl with everything he had. He would text first, call first, make plans, apologize even when he wasn't wrong. He was the emotional anchor, always available, always present. And she got comfortable. Because when someone knows you'll always be there, they stop fearing to lose you. One day he decided, no more. No angry goodbye, no dramatic post, just silence. He didn't block her. He didn't delete her. He just disappeared from her daily rhythm, like a song that suddenly stops playing. And that's when things started to shift. At first, she felt relief. Finally, some space, she thought. But then, something unexpected happened. The silence began to echo. No more good morning texts. No more "how was your day" calls. No more warmth from the man who once made her feel like the center of the world. Days turned into weeks, and her ego whispered, "He'll come back. He always does." But he didn't. And slowly the noise in her head began. Why isn't he texting me? Did he move on? Was I the problem? That's the silence effect. It makes her confront what she never had to face before, the possibility of losing you. See, silence isn't just an absence of words. It's a mirror. It reflects her behavior back at her. It forces her to sit with her own emptiness, to question what she thought was certain. When you stop chasing, you create space. And in that space, she begins to remember things she took for granted. Your laugh, your calm voice, the way you made her feel seen. Suddenly she scrolls through your old messages just to feel something again. But here's what most men don't understand. The silence isn't about punishing her. It's about reclaiming yourself. Every time you stay silent, you tell the universe, my peace matters more than her attention. And that energy, it changes everything. Because a man who can walk in silence radiates something rare, self-control. And women feel that. They sense that your energy has shifted. You're no longer the boy begging for love. You're the man who understands his worth. So if you're sitting there tonight staring at your phone, fighting the urge to text her one more time, don't. Let silence do what words never could. Because silence isn't empty. It's full of answers. It's full of healing. It's full of power. And the moment she realizes your silence isn't weakness and it's peace, that's when she'll start hearing the loudest sound she's ever known. The sound of your absence. Point 3, emotional contrast, why she starts missing your energy. Let me ask you something, brother. Have you ever noticed how someone only realizes your worth after you've pulled your energy away? It's strange, isn't it? When you were available, caring, checking up on her, she barely noticed. But the moment you stopped, the world suddenly got quieter for her. That's emotional contrast. And it's one of the most powerful forces in love and psychology. Let me tell you a story. Maybe it sounds a bit like yours. There was a guy, let's call him Ayan. He loved a woman so deeply that his world revolved around her. He would message her every morning. Remember her coffee order? Send songs that reminded him of her. He was consistent, loyal, and full of warmth. But over time, that warmth became background noise. She got used to it. She stopped appreciating it, and one day, she walked away. He was shattered. His world went cold. But instead of chasing her, instead of begging, he went silent. And that's when the contrast began to hit her. She started talking to new people. She met guys who looked confident, who said the right things. But something was missing. They didn't see her the way Ayan did. They didn't carry that calm strength he had when he was with her. They didn't make her feel safe. That's what emotional contrast does. It makes her compare. She remembers your jokes. No one laughs like that anymore. She remembers how you listened, really listened, without judging. She remembers your patience, your energy, your quiet love. And the more she tries to replace you, the more she feels the absence of what made you different. It's not about money. It's not about looks. It's about energy. Your energy, that presence you brought into her life, becomes something she can't replicate. Because no one can copy authenticity. No one can fake peace. That's when she starts scrolling through your old chats at midnight. She replays those voice notes. She smiles, then feels that sting in her chest, that ache that says, I lost something real. That's emotional contrast. It's the universe reminding her of what she once had and didn't value. But here's the truth most men miss. She doesn't start missing you immediately. She starts missing the feeling she had when she was with you. Your masculine calm. Your emotional steadiness. Your sense of purpose that silently guided her. And that's the magic of walking away with grace. You don't need to prove your worth. Time does it for you. So if you're sitting there wondering if she'll ever realize what she lost, she will. Not because you begged, not because you waited, but because she'll feel that emotional contrast so deeply, it'll haunt her. Because once she's tasted genuine masculine energy, once she's felt your peace, your love, your soul, every man after you becomes just a little bit duller. That's when she starts missing your energy. Not because she's lonely, but because your presence once made her feel alive. Point 4. The mystery of absence, why distance creates attraction. Tell me something, brother. Have you ever noticed how the same person who once ignored your messages suddenly starts missing. You the moment you stop showing up? Why is it that when you pull away, they start remembering the moments they once took for granted? That's the mystery of absence. A silent force that makes the heart crave what it once dismissed. Let me tell you a story. Maybe it feels a little too close to home. There was a guy named Zane. He loved this girl deeply. She was his world, the kind of woman he thought he'd never lose. He was always there for her, replying fast, checking up on her, showing up whenever she needed him. He thought being available meant being loved. But slowly, she started pulling away. The texts became shorter, the calls less frequent, and one day she simply said, "I think I need space." That word, space, crushed him. But this time, instead of chasing, begging, or trying to fix what was broken, he did something unexpected. He disappeared. No text, no stories, no online presence, nothing. Days turned into weeks, and something strange started happening. The same woman who once said she needed space started wondering where he went. See, brother, this is the hidden power of absence. When you disappear, you don't just leave a gap, you create mystery. And mystery is magnetic. She begins to question things she never thought about before. Is he talking to someone new? Why doesn't he watch my stories anymore? Did he finally move on? And in that silence, her mind becomes your messenger. Your absence speaks louder than any words ever could. Because when you were always available, your presence was ordinary and predictable. But now you've become rare, and human psychology craves rarity. Think about it. The songs that hit the hardest are the ones tied to the people we lost. The messages we reread aren't from the ones who stayed. They're from the ones who vanished. That's the mystery of absence. It makes her revisit the places you went together. She hears your favorite song at a random cafe, and her chest tightens. She scrolls through old photos, remembering your laugh, your scent, your touch, all the things she thought she'd outgrown. And now the silence you once hated becomes your greatest weapon. Because when you pull your presence away, she finally starts to feel what life without you really means. It's not about ignoring her. It's about reclaiming your power, your peace, your worth. And here's the truth most men never understand. Distance doesn't destroy attraction. It creates it. When you stop being accessible, she starts valuing access. When you stop talking, she starts listening. When you stop chasing, she starts remembering. That's when she realizes the peace she feels now is empty. The silence that once felt freeing now feels haunting. Because in your absence, she discovers something no one else gave her. A man who had the strength to walk away, not out of anger, but out of self-respect. And that, my brother, is how distance creates desire, not by punishing her, but by reminding her that your energy was never meant to be taken for granted. Because once you disappear with calmness and silence, you don't just leave, you linger. By point 5, the shift in masculine energy when you stop needing her. Let me ask you something real, brother. Have you ever noticed how the moment you stop chasing her, she suddenly starts noticing you again? It's not magic. It's energy. Pure masculine energy shifting from neediness to self-mastery. And I want you to feel this one deeply, because it's not just about her, it's about you. There was a man, maybe just like you. He loved deeply. He gave everything. He thought love meant sacrifice, replying instantly, doing everything to keep her happy, constantly trying to prove he was worthy of her love. But one day she left, and he broke. He couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. He replayed every memory, every conversation, asking himself, and what did I do wrong? But time has a strange way of showing us truth. He started to rebuild quietly. He went to the gym. He started focusing on his goals again. He stopped stalking her socials, stopped trying to decode her silence. And something powerful began to change inside him. That desperate, restless energy, the kind that chases validation, began to fade. He no longer needed her to feel worthy. And that's the shift most men never reach. The shift in masculine energy. When you stop needing her, you stop chasing. And when you stop chasing, you stop bleeding your energy. See, women are drawn to masculine calm, not loudness, not control, but presence, in the kind that says, I'm complete with or without you. When a man truly steps into his masculine energy, something spiritual happens. His eyes change. His walk changes. He becomes grounded, not seeking, not begging, just being. And that energy, she feels it. She may not understand why, but suddenly she's curious again. Because before you were predictable, always there, always available, always giving. But now, you've become a mystery again. You're not texting her good morning. You're not checking if she saw your story. You're busy building your empire, your peace, your discipline, your future. And this is where the universe flips the script. The same woman who once pulled away starts wondering, what happened to him? Why does he look happier without me? Why does he feel different? It's not that you changed your words. You changed your energy. That's the silent truth every Stoic man learns after heartbreak. When you stop needing her, you start attracting her, not because you're playing games, but because your energy is no longer desperate. It's divine. Masculine energy isn't about dominance, and it's about direction. It's not about control, it's about calmness. It's not about proving your worth, it's about knowing it. And here's the twist: when she finally comes back, it's not because you begged or chased, it's because your energy reminded her of something rare. A man who stands on his own 2 feet, rooted, peaceful, unshaken. That's what women crave but rarely find. Not the man who says, I need you, but the man who says, I choose you, but I don't need you to breathe. So if you're going through heartbreak right now, don't chase. Don't beg, don't collapse. Rebuild your energy. Reclaim your strength. Because the day you stop needing her is the day she starts feeling your absence like gravity. And that's when everything changes. On point 6, the return cycle, how women test before coming back. Tell me honestly, brother, have you ever had that moment when she suddenly texts you out of nowhere? A simple, hey, how have you been? After weeks or even months of silence, your heart skips a beat, right? Part of you wants to smile. The other part doesn't know whether to reply or walk away. That's not just coincidence. That's what I call the return cycle, the stage where women test before they return. And if you've ever loved and lost, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Let's go deep into this. After a breakup, she pulls away. She thinks she's done. She wants freedom, attention, validation, maybe a new distraction. At first, she feels powerful, but time, it has a way of revealing what silence hides. As the weeks pass, she starts to feel something strange and an emptiness. Because the truth is, no matter how much she tried to move on, she starts remembering the way you made her feel. The laughter, the comfort, the safety of your presence. But here's the twist, and she doesn't come back immediately. She tests first. Maybe she watches your story just to see if you'll react. Maybe she sends a random text. I saw your old hoodie today. Or remember that place we used to go? And you, my brother, are standing at a crossroads, one message away from falling back into the same trap. She wants to know, is he still the same? Does he still crave me? Can I still control his emotions? That's what every test is, and an emotional radar. She's not asking about your life because she cares how your day went. She's checking if you've truly moved on. And here's where the Stoic man stands apart. He doesn't react. He responds. He doesn't chase. He observes. He's calm, composed, and detached. When she texts, he doesn't pour his heart out. He replies with peace. When she tries to trigger emotion, he gives her nothing but silence and presence. And that's when the real magic begins. Because the more she realizes that you're no longer emotionally available, the more curious she becomes. She starts to remember your worth. Not the man who begged, but the man who grew. This is the point where many men fail. They think the test means she wants them back. But no, brother. She's trying to see if you've leveled up, or if you're still living in her shadow. So when the return cycle begins, don't get emotional. Don't seek closure, don't lose your frame. Keep your peace. Stay grounded. Because the more control you show, the more her curiosity turns into attraction again. She'll start appearing more often, and a like here, a comment there, maybe even asking to meet. But remember, the Stoic man never forgets the lesson behind the heartbreak. He doesn't go back out of loneliness. He decides only if she's worthy of re-entry into his new life. So if she comes back testing your patience, your silence, your strength, smile quietly. Because that's not rejection, that's confirmation. That she feels your absence, your growth, your peace. And when you stay calm during the test, you don't just pass, you rise. And that, my brother, is how she truly begins to chase you again. Point 7. The Stoic rebirth, becoming the man she regrets losing. Let me ask you something, brother. Have you ever looked at yourself in the mirror after a breakup? Eyes tired, heart heavy, wondering how the person you loved could just walk away like you meant nothing. That pain, it burns. But deep inside that pain, there's also power. The kind of power that can transform you completely if you let it. This point, this is not about her anymore. This is about you. The rebirth of the man she never thought you could become. After she leaves, it feels like everything collapses. Your peace, your confidence, even your purpose. You replay every moment, every fight, every word. You ask yourself, was I not enough? But what if I told you that heartbreak wasn't your ending? It was your awakening. Because the truth is, when she walked away, she didn't destroy you, and she revealed the version of you that was buried under comfort, under need, under love that was never fully returned. That's where the Stoic rebirth begins. You stop chasing her. You start chasing yourself. You begin to train your mind, your body, your spirit. You replace late-night overthinking with discipline. You replace pain with progress. You start doing the things you used to delay. Hitting the gym, reading, learning, growing, facing silence without fear. Because silence becomes your teacher. You start realizing you never needed her to feel complete. You only needed to remember who you are. She, on the other hand, starts to notice something different. The man she left behind is gone. Your energy changes. Your voice becomes calmer. Your presence becomes heavier, magnetic. You're no longer reacting to her, to the world, to emotions. You've become centered, grounded, stoic. And that's when something powerful happens. Regret. The same woman who thought you'd fall apart begins to see your strength. The same woman who doubted you begins to wonder what she lost. Because nothing shakes a woman more than realizing the man she left became the man she always wanted. But here's the beauty, brother. By that time, you no longer need her validation. Her regret doesn't define your worth anymore, because you've evolved beyond her imagination. The Stoic rebirth is not about proving her wrong. It's about proving yourself right. It's about becoming the man who doesn't break under emotion, who doesn't lose control when love fails, who doesn't chase because he attracts. And one day you'll look back at that same heartbreak and whisper, thank you. Because that pain didn't destroy you, it forged you. You'll realize the real comeback was never her texting you again. It was you coming back to your true self. So brother, stop waiting for her to return. Start rebuilding the kingdom within you. Because when you master your emotions, your peace, your purpose, you don't just become the man she regrets losing, you become the man no woman can forget. Conclusion. So brother, stop chasing. Stop begging for love that abandoned you. Use the silence, embrace the distance, and let your transformation become her greatest regret. Because the truth is, she will come back. But by then you'll already have moved on. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.